Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to go over what I feel are 10 of the best uncommon jokers to build your strategies around in Balatro. It was really hard limiting this list down to just 10 jokers because there's so many strong uncommon jokers that you can utilize. So I just quickly want to go over a handful of honorable mentions and then jump right in to the top 10. So with flush hands, uncommon jokers that I'm looking for are things like Arrowhead and Onyx Agut, whether you're building around spades or clubs. Really great ones to look for. Something like Acrobat giving you a ×3 multiplier on the final hand of the round. So if you're utilizing all of your hands each round and you get to that end one, you can get a ×3 multiplier with this. Bootstraps, if you're in a really strong economic position to build up that plus multiplier and scale it throughout your run, if you're sitting on a large pile of cash and building that up. Astronomer to get free planet cards and celestial packs. Cartomancer to get a free tarot card when each blind is selected. Of course, those tarot cards can be quite powerful. Some uncommon jokers that are really great for scaling throughout your run, like Rocket, in terms of building up that economic situation. It's going to add $2 when a boss blind is defeated onto the money that it's paying you at the end of each blind. And also Madness, particularly in gold stakes, I think gets overlooked sometimes, particularly if you have a lot of eternal jokers. You don't have to worry about it destroying those, and it can really build a strong times multiplier in those situations and not destroy those eternal jokers if you're building around that. Also, Steel Joker almost made the top 10. This is a great one building around a lot of steel cards that I have in my deck. So for each one of those steel cards, gives you times 0.2 to the multiplier added on to the initial ×1 to the multiplier that it has. So if you're building off of steel cards, definitely look to add this one. And also Ramen giving you a ×2 multiplier and using easier hand type strategy, so you don't need to discard as often, which is going to weaken this one. But if you're playing like high card pair, again, easier things to play where you don't need to utilize your discards, then that times multiplier from Ramen can stick around for a while. But now I'd like to jump in to my top 10 list. So starting off at number 10 is Fibonacci. So each played either ace, 2, 3, 5, or 8 is going to give +8 to the multiplier when scored. So if you're building around like an ace strategy, for instance, or you can even build around any of these other numbers depending on what types of jokers that you're using. But Fibonacci is a great way to get plus to your multiplier and can really be something nice to build around. Next up on the list at number 9 is Spare Trousers. If you want to build around a 2-pair strategy, if you can find it, you're going to get that +2 to the multiplier every time you play a hand that contains a 2-pair. The earlier you can get this, the better. Scale that plus multiplier with this one throughout your run can be very strong. Sock and Buskin in at number 8. Retriggers all played face cards. I like playing around different face card type strategies, and there's just a lot of other jokers that you can utilize to build really strong hands around different face cards. And then Sock and Buskin on top of that is going to re-trigger any of those played face cards that you happen to utilize in the hands that you're playing. And re-triggering in general can just get extremely strong. So that is why I had to put Sock and Buskin into my top 10. At number 7, I'm going to put Mime. Re-trigger all card held in hand abilities. So things like steel cards, gold cards. If you have like a blue seal on a card in your hand, you would get that to trigger twice, so it would give you 2 planet cards instead of 1. There's a lot of different ways that this can be very effective, especially when trying to reach the absolute pinnacle high highs of really top tier scoring that you can get. Often it's built around builds that have Mime in them. Of course, this joker isn't going to be useful unless you have those cards held in hand abilities that you're able to re-trigger and really get the positive benefits of that. But if you are in that situation, this one can just get extremely strong. At number 6, I'm going to put Trading Card. This one is great for deck fixing, and it's also going to help your economic situation. So the first card discarded of the round, if it's only one card, it's going to destroy it and earn you $3. So the less cards that you can have in your deck, particularly if they're ones that aren't benefiting you, destroying them, slimming down the number of cards in your deck so that you increase the probability of the types of cards and the hands that you're looking for is great. And then just on top of that, it's giving us $3 each time we're destroying one of those cards. And it really helps me curate down my deck exactly how I'd like it. So slotting in a Trading Card at number 6. Now, number 5 through number 1, the rest of this list are all cards that have to deal with times multiplier because those cards are just so great when building a strong round of Balatro. You're looking for those times multiplier cards. Next up at number 5, I'm going to put Blackboard. ×3 multiplier if all cards held in hand are spades or clubs. So as you're working your way through your run, of course, you can utilize tarot cards to increase the number of spades and club cards that you have, switching them over from diamonds or hearts. But also if you're going for an easier hand type strategy like a high card or a pair, that still gives you a number of card slots that you can put in either hearts or diamonds just as extra fodder in the hand that you're playing to be able to keep only spades and clubs in the cards that you're holding onto to utilize the ×3 multiplier that Blackboard brings to the table. Next up at number 4, I'm going to put in Lucky Cat. I like building around lucky cards. I feel like they hit probably more than people might expect, but anytime that triggers, the Lucky Cat is going to add ×0.25 to the multiplier. If you're building around a lot of lucky cards and you can get a lot of triggers, and you can scale this throughout your run, getting a number of triggers, which is going to add ×0.25 to this multiplier each time you're able to do that. So Lucky Cat is one that can get extremely strong and get that times multiplier very high. Next up at number 3, I'm going to put in Constellation. So this Joker is going to gain ×0.1 to the multiplier for every time a planet card is played. I love playing planet cards. Not only are they going to boost up the strength of the hands that you're playing, but with Constellation, they're also going to add to the times multiplier. And this is another one that you can scale its strength throughout your run and get it very strong. Not just in the fact that you're benefiting from playing planet cards to begin with to increase the strength of your hands, but also to add on to that times multiplier. Number 2 is another times multiplier that we can scale throughout a run, and that is Hologram. This Joker gains 0.25 times to the multiplier every time a playing card is added to your deck. So if you have the Joker DNA, for instance, and you're adding copies of cards that you'd like to add to your deck, then this one would also come in handy in those situations where it's going to add ×0.25 to the multiplier each time it does that. Of course, there's other ways to add cards to your deck that are going to scale the times multiplier on this. Now, the downside is you don't necessarily want to have a ton of cards in your deck because it just makes it a bit more difficult to find exactly the types of cards that you're looking for to play the hands that you want to put out there. So I try not to go crazy with this one. I try to counteract it a bit with utilizing the types of cards that reduce the number of cards that are in my deck. But the nice thing here is when you reduce the number of cards that are in your deck, it's not going to take away from the times multiplier that you had already added. So again, Hologram, especially if you're adding the types of cards that you want to your deck, not only is that a great benefit, but it's also going to add to the times multiplier of this one, and it can scale very well throughout your run. And last but not least, at number 1, I'm going to put Card Sharp. I use this card a ton. It's very easy to utilize the ×3 multiplier that it comes with. I think this card is maybe even a little bit stronger than it needs to be. You could probably even cut this down to a ×2 multiplier and it would still be quite good. If the played poker hand has already been played this round, you get that ×3 multiplier. So I, in general, like to use strategies of easier hand types to play, like flush, high card, pair, things like that. So if I'm able to get those out there, the next time I play it, I'm going to get that ×3 multiplier because that hand has already been played. I usually don't diversify to a bunch of different types of hands that I play in each round. So that's going to give me a lot of benefit with that ×3 multiplier that Card Sharp brings to the table. And that's going to round out the list of what I think are 10 of the best uncommon jokers to use and build around in Balatro. Again, guys, I had a really hard time limiting this list down to just 10 jokers. That's why I had so many in the honorable mention, and I could have even added some to the honorable mention, but I didn't want to make this video too long. But anyways, that's going to wrap this one up. If you'd like to tell me about your favorite uncommon jokers down in the comment section, I'd appreciate to read those and see what your opinions are. But that'll wrap this one up. So thanks for stopping by, and consider subscribing for more Balatro content in the future.